Right. Hello and welcome. I'm Gayle Gruenberg, and today I'm talking with Laura Graziano, owner of Personal Best Coaching and Programs. Laura is a speaker, writer, and personal development coach who is known as the coach that cares, and I can attest to that. Laura and I have known each other for several years, having met through the New Jersey Association of Women Business Owners. I have always admired how Laura puts her heart into everything she does, both personally and professionally. Laura is also the recipient of the Distinguished Toastmaster Award for Public Speaking and Leadership. Laura is someone who truly shows up in life, which is one thing I greatly value. I'm so honored that she is joining me today. Welcome, Laura. It's so lovely to have you as my guest.
Oh, thank you, Gayle. It's my pleasure to be here. You and I have always connected with our energy. I think we we both feel that, right? If both of us are in the room, we kind of gravitate to one another, right?
We do. You have such a beautiful, welcoming smile and demeanor that I love being around you.
Me too. Me too. I think we felt that right away. So I'm
We
happy to
did.
be here today. And I loved your theme about letting go for spring, like kind of cleaning out, right?
Thank you. Yes, yes, absolutely. And I know we're going to talk in more detail. So I'm grateful that we've set aside this time. We don't usually get a chance to talk in great depth. We've made space for blessings by clearing our plates to get together. So tell us, what's going on with Personal Best Coaching and Programs? And tell me a bit how you became a personal development coach.
Well, part of it, Gail, is I've always loved inspiring people. Even as a young child, writing was a tool for me to do some self-healing as a child, but also I really got a thrill if I would write something and someone would comment like how it touched them in some way. It always brought me such joy and fulfillment, even from a young age. And I used to write poems and give them to family members for momentous occasions. And always there was feeling that was brought into that. And also, even working with my church, I wound up getting very involved in a lot of retreat programs and the servant leadership program. I became certified in that. And I really loved finding the heart of an individual and bringing that out through the aspects of their life so that they could really live a richer and more meaningful existence, because that's what we're all here for. We're here to really bring out our joy and really enjoy our lives. And I feel that we get so stuck on that treadmill, that little hamster wheel of life, and one day goes into the next, and we don't spend enough time on the most important person in our lives, which is you, me, ourselves.
For sure.
Yeah.
This morning.
So I was working in, I have a marketing and sales background. And I worked in marketing for a number of years. I took some time off to have my 3 children who are all grown now. Yay. And they're all doing great, I'm happy to say. And I was working actually in project management for a pharmaceutical and cosmetic packaging company. Don't even ask how I ended up there. Life is a journey. But at the same time, the company was moving to South Plainfield, and I'm in Wayne, and it was just too far to travel. And I had thought about starting my own coaching business. I had been tugged that way for some time. My heart was speaking to me. And I decided that I was going to jump. They offered me a position, and I said, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start my own business. And lo and behold, literally a month after I made that decision, my dad, he suffered, he actually weakened his heart working in his garden. He was 105 years old, if
Oh my
you can
goodness.
believe it, still living in his own home on his own. And we brought him to stay with us in my home here, and we cared for him for 5 weeks until he passed. So I was available to help care for him, which is pretty incredible that I wasn't working at the time. My son was here with me. And, you talk about making space for blessings.
Absolutely.
As hard as that was, it was a blessing in so many ways that I had that window of opportunity to be with him. And then after that time, I started my own business. So he passed in June, and that July, Personal Best Coaching and Programs, Laura E. Graziano LLC began. And it's been a quest ever since. I get so much joy from helping people. So that was kind of the little journey there.
And it sounds like your dad is he's sort of sitting on your shoulder a bit, like an
Oh,
angel watching you as you
oh
grow your
yeah.
business.
Oh yeah. He had so much wisdom that I feel that I think he had a lot to do with where I am and a lot that I share. He loved people, and I love people, and he would say if there's one person left on this earth, he would be my friend. And I really
Oh,
believe that he just had so much goodness within him that he wanted to share with others, and lots of wisdom too.
I'm sure he imbued you with a good portion of what he had learned over time.
He did. I will admit, when I was younger, I didn't always appreciate that.
Hmm.
You know how that is, right?
I do. We hear what we want
I
when we
would feel
want.
like the lectures at the breakfast table, but
Yuck.
it all sunk in. It did.
It did. And hopefully our kids are getting it from us now. We might think that we sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, but they really are listening to what we're saying.
Oh, they are. They are. It's so funny. He used to say, one of his favorite sayings I remember as my sister and I, it was just two of us growing up. And when we would go off to school in the morning, he would say, always your best. And, I used to think, oh, what is that? But it really sticks. And believe it or not, that had a big influence on the name of my business, A Personal Best Coaching. And I really believe that, why would we give anything less than our best? Because everything we do is a reflection of who we are. And so why would we want to give less than that? And I'm not talking about, being a perfectionist in life, because that takes it too far the other way. But we want to show up, like you said, about showing up today. We want to show up and show off the best that we have to give the world, our heart, our mind, and our intention. So why not give our best? And so that's what I strive for. Sometimes I drive myself a little crazy getting there.
Don't we all, right? Oh,
So
God.
that's a little bit of the background. I hope that kind of rounds things out for you.
Thank you. I'm so glad that we got to talk about it. I hadn't really known the whole story that came before Personal Best Coaching and Programs came to be. So thank you.
You're
Now,
welcome.
I know that everyone raves about your in-person retreats and workshops that are designed to help clients clear their roadblocks and build self-confidence, propel themselves to personal and professional growth and success. We talked a little bit before we made this appointment about some of the tools that you use in your workshops. Can you give us an idea of what you do and how people can grow a bit with your guidance?
Sure. Well, part of it is the one-on-one coaching. With that gets very intensive. In a one-on-one situation and in a retreat situation, I always start with personal reflection time, because everything comes from that. If you don't take the time to really think about where you are and look back on where you've been, not to get stuck there, but to learn from it and to take those lessons that you have in life and realize the things that you need to let go of, the things that are keeping you stuck. And, that sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Sometimes we get in like these negative behavior loops, and they just become so ingrained in our existence that we keep repeating that over and over, and we don't know why we can't move past it. And we have to actually go back, and it sounds funny, almost like a computer thing, but we have to reprogram ourselves. And that takes a lot of thought process. And the other thing that I always bring in is mindfulness, because mindfulness, I really feel, is the key to change. When you do the reflection, you take the time for that, and then you become mindful of what you want to change, then you can work towards that in a mindful way. So you're aware of maybe the negative thoughts, the behavior patterns, and what you want to change. And then you actually set your sights on a vision for yourself, where you want to go. So then you realize that this is what I have to change to get there. And then it's determining those little steps. And I like to start with very small ones. So whatever, every retreat I do has a different theme to it. And they're all built around self-improvement and really focusing on the inner you and bringing it out through your day to day and your career and your business and your personal life and all of you. Because honestly, you're a complete picture. You can't make a decision in one part of your life and have it not affect the rest of you. So when you make goals for yourself, you really have to take into account yourself as a total person. So that's another thing. When I'm doing the one-on-one coaching, we look at all aspects of our lives. And I use what is called a life wheel, which I really love this tool. And I've actually I've evaluated a lot of different modalities using this, and I've come up with my own. And looking at all the different aspects of your life, your social, your community, your financial, your career, your spiritual, all of that is your package. And if you look at all those areas of your life and you rate them as far as your happiness level goes, then you can really see, a wheel spins when it's in balance. And you can chart that on the wheel, and you can really get a good idea of the things that you need to work on and bring up that happiness level. So I love visuals. Visuals to me are a great tool where you can picture things. And I use a lot of visualization in my programs because I like to say, if you can see it, you can be it.
I love that. Yeah.
So a lot of visualization, and the life wheel is a great place to start, because then you know what areas to work on as an individual.
That's brilliant. As I'm listening, I'm thinking, wow, that's so very much like what we do as organizers, because what is in the brain and what is in the heart tends to manifest in the space. And as someone is going about their lives, if they aren't in complete alignment, or not even complete alignment, just in alignment with the way they want to be living, then that will manifest in someone's environment. So it's the brain, the heart, and the space that all have to coordinate. And we talk a lot about mindfulness and what type of vision do you have for your life, and do your time commitments reflect that? Do your relationships reflect that? Does your space reflect that? Does your job reflect that? What do you want to change? Because it's all clutter. If it's messing up your mind, it's going to mess up the rest of your life as well. So it sounds like
You're so right. That's why I think we're like the perfect match here.
we are definitely. We untie the internal knot.
Exactly. I mean, I could see you working with a new client. Like, you really have to spend the time to get to know them and, what makes them tick. Why are they squirreling this stuff away? Why are they keeping all this? Because it's so much deeper than just the physical space.
It's never about the stuff.
Right.
It's about their emotions, their thoughts, the whispers in their heads from other people, the voices that tend to say you're not good enough, or you're being wasteful, or whatever the stories we tell ourselves are.
You know what I also think about a lot, and this is, I've really given a lot of study to this more recently, is taking it back to our simplest existence. If you think of us as primitive people, Because when we go back to our basic instincts, they're at the heart of everything that we do today. As crazy as it sounds, because that's, cavemen, cavewomen, but that is our chemical makeup. And
Mhm.
we're built to protect ourselves, to have enough food, to have a safe place to land, be away from predators, and just have that security and abundant food. So I think that probably has a lot of effect with someone like yourself, that people have to pare down. Part of that is, do I have enough?
For sure.
I might need this because I'm not sure
That's
that
right.
I'm going to have enough. So you protect and you keep things close to you. And it's the same way physically with our thoughts and our behavior patterns. I keep doing this because I don't know if I'd be safe if I go out there and step out of my comfort zone.
Right.
So I stay where I know it's safe and secure.
And we know that growth takes place just on the other side of our comfort zones.
But that requires, again, that constant mindfulness. And, I like to say, face the fear and do it anyway.
I love that phrase.
Do it anyway, because what I always think, what is the worst that could happen?
You're
Okay, you'll
absolutely
die.
right.
I don't think you're going to die if you do most of these little things where you step out of your comfort zone. And if you fail, so what? You pick yourself up and you start over, but you learned something from that failure. Look at all the people who have had the biggest success. All of them have had multiple failures in life.
Yes, I forget who it is who said, fail faster. Because the
I
more you
love that.
fail, the more you learn. And then you learn, like Thomas Edison. One of my favorite stories is when Thomas Edison was inventing the light bulb, someone had said to him, "Aren't you getting discouraged because what you're doing isn't working?" And he said, "No, now I know what doesn't work. Now I know what does work." So
That's
I'm
right.
I'm paraphrasing, not explaining it completely, but he was not at all down. He just kept going until he found the answer.
That's right. It's not giving up is definitely something. And then, I also think a big part of succeeding in life is just, first of all, making the commitment to yourself. That is big. And I also believe in making the commitment to someone else, where they see that you have said, yes, I'm going to do this. So you're accountable to someone, and
Absolutely.
someone who really believes in you. I think that's one of the reasons I got into coaching, because I want to be that someone for people. I want to be that someone who's your cheerleader, who has that full faith in you, because honestly, sometimes it's hard for us to find that person in life. Family members are often too close to us and they don't see us for who we really are, or they're just too tightly involved. And friends, you might find a friend that would be able to do that, but it has to be someone that totally believes in you and has your complete best interests at heart.
You're absolutely
And
right.
so it is a tough thing to find. That's why I really believe in coaching, because I think it is probably the best investment that an individual can make in their future, to take them more quickly to where they want to go.
Agreed.
It's a small price to pay when you think that you could get stuck here for years, and by making this little change and a few baby steps every day, you could be living a totally different life in a short time.
It's so true. I personally think that coaching is extremely flattering to have someone spend that focused time and attention on me, for instance, as an example. Oh my gosh, like, where do you get that? Someone who just, like you said, believes in you completely, that you can open up and trust and feel vulnerable, and you know that you're safe, and someone is going to guide you onto a better path. I can't imagine a better experience.
It is, it does require the commitment on the part of the coach and the individual. I've worked with a lot of young people, and sometimes their parents will say, "Oh, I really want you to work with Laura." You know, and
Ah,
and and they come to the table, they want to, but they're not the one who's paying the bill. Mom and dad may be footing the bill, so they don't have as much skin in the game.
that's a
So
good point.
it's a little bit different when you're working with young people because they don't have that same commitment level that an adult who is conscious and paying and really seeing the results of that quickly and really having that motivation. Sometimes the motivation for a young person is coming from their parent where that you're not doing enough, I want you to be here. And so that is it that gets to be a little bit of a dance. And I've worked with a lot of young people where I really try to get on their level and find that motivation because everyone has it. That
And what I see in you is you're so relatable. Having raised three children, you understand how a young person thinks. And from my perspective, in my training and my experience, is I've learned that the brain is not fully formed until you're at least 25. So your executive function is not all there yet. So being cognizant of, where someone is in their cognitive development is very important. And it sounds like if you get someone just at the right time, you can influence the way the entire scope of their life will go.
Oh, I know. And I love that. I love, love, love working with young people because their lives are ahead of them. There's so much in it. And I just think to myself, wow, I wish I had a coach at that age
For
because,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
The things that you can internalize and change the course of your life so quickly and have so much impact on your future is really exciting. I mean, it's exciting at any age. And I even say, for older people, like there's a lot of people that once they reach retirement, that is a new stage of life. As much as a young person has a lot of opportunity, retirement for many people can be a new opportunity, and that can be very exciting too. And now we're living longer, we're feeling better. So we still have a lot of years that we can be productive and maybe, not working in that same career, but maybe the things that have been tugging at us for some years and we weren't able to spend the time on them because we had so many commitments in our life that maybe even raising children and family and taking care of your parents and all of that is a lot on an individual. And sometimes when retirement rolls around, you now have more time, maybe you have a little money saved, so you can finally get to do some of the things that you couldn't do before. So that's another exciting time in life.
That's so important that you say that because I've seen with people who retire, they need to retire to something rather than just from something to feel like a productive member of society and not that they're just being turned out to pasture. So
Oh, that's so true. And I think men, it's even more so than women because they're so tied to what they do as opposed to who they are.
it's interesting you say that because last week I was in a 2-day course. And one of the things that came out of the course was giving ourselves permission to be multidimensional. I think many times if we're certainly pushing to make a living and taking care of people, we forget like, oh yeah, I really like doing XYZ, and it's what makes us who we are, like you said, not just what we are.
You're right. That's one thing I like that you brought that up too, because I think it's very important for us to take a trip down memory lane
Ooh, this is interesting.
and way back to our childhood. Because I really believe that the things that we loved as children still guide us today. And, obviously, we're not doing all of those exact things. I loved coloring, and I haven't done much coloring lately, but. But these are the cues, like little Gayle, little Laura, we had cues when we were, young children, I'm not talking about babies, but once we were old enough to understand life a little bit without being tarnished by it. Because I really feel that the rigors of life have a way of drawing us away from who we were meant to be. And sometimes we have to deal with things as children, or we're not maybe given the encouragement that we should have been or that we deserved. And, we may have pulled back and gone in different directions because we didn't feel like we could do it, or maybe life was difficult. I had a difficult growing up. My mom had schizophrenia. So it was a very difficult situation as a child. And, there were quite a few years where it was difficult for my dad to get her proper treatment. So it was rough. But within that, I learned a lot of self-healing tools that I use with my clients today, and writing and journaling. But I think, to think back to your essence, that's really how I like to refer to it, as your essence. The essence of you. What were the things that brought you the most joy? I know I loved riding my bicycle, and I loved the wind in my hair and the sun on my face. I just felt free. So how can I get those feelings in the life that I'm living now? And so I like to take people back. And honestly, I've had some women in my retreat programs that have had like these huge aha moments, where I know we did an exercise in that, how to bring your dreams to life, that particular retreat. And we went back to our childhood days, and I had a beautiful picture of these little girls playing. And now this woman, she was probably in her 50s and had never married. Not that she was unhappy being alone, but I think she was kind of confused with why that never happened for her. And the more she had this flashback to her childhood, where her dad had left the family when she was quite young. And she had a realization that this may have been holding her back all these years to making a stronger bond with the men that she dated.
Wow,
That
that's quite a realization.
So some of the things that come out when you really do that deep reflection and you go back to these, these times, sometimes it can be a little painful, because not every childhood is sunshine and daisies. So it can be a little painful, but it's also a way for you to face that and then set for yourself some goals where you can become mindful and you can acknowledge that's who I was. And I've been carrying this around maybe with me. And now I'm aware of that. So now I can free myself from that. And I can now set this new vision for myself and these new goals, so I can get excited. I don't have to be who I thought I was. I'm not my past. I'm my future. I'm here to create that. So it's very powerful to take that time to really look back.
I am so loving what you're saying. And if I might include a bit of spirituality at this point, because our whole thought about our topic was going to be letting go and lightening up and all of that good stuff. And from what you're saying, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, here we are. We're about to celebrate Passover, and Easter is coming. And it's such a time of letting go of whatever is holding us back. And, we might have been slaves to thoughts, because we say, there's ego Egypt. What are we slaves to? What thought patterns? What belief systems? I would love to hear your perspective on the letting go, especially now that we're in spring and in this very holy season.
Yeah, that's a lesson as far as letting go, letting certain things die that no longer serve us.
Mhm.
Not everything has to continue. Like sometimes, like you say, there's a reason and a season.
Yes,
And I think our lives are like that too, that sometimes we're meant to let go even of certain relationships
absolutely.
that Maybe are we associating with someone maybe who's really negative for us? And what are they adding to our lives? Is it someone that we can let go of? If it's someone that's so close to us, that's a little harder to do. And we might have to figure out ways to work around that, but we don't have to let that negativity get to us.
Oh,
We
so
can,
well
we
said.
can manage that. So there is a lot of letting go of what no longer serves us.
That's all about organizing, or actually, organizing is all about that. You're absolutely right. It dovetails so well. And yes, when I'm working with clients, absolutely, it's not just the stuff. It might feel good to start with the stuff, but we know that once we start to delve more deeply into the relationships and the closely held beliefs and what things represent to us, and who we used to be, who we might need to let go of that image of us. And like you said, the woman who didn't marry, what was her self perspective, and what is the reality. It's fascinating when you
It,
start
it,
to
it
work
is.
with
And
people.
I just love, 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 love getting to the heart of an individual. I think I should have been a psychiatrist. But, as a coach, what I love about the difference there is I can help empower someone to do something,
Yeah.
that we can work together with goals so that they can actually move forward. Not only can they better understand themselves, and they can be working with a therapist, because I do work with a lot of people that have therapists too. So by no means am I putting that down, because that's a
Right.
necessary thing also. But I think that it excites me because we work together for the future. And, we're change agents, really.
Very much so.
And
Yes.
and that's like really exciting. You don't have to be that person you were before. You can let that go, and you can, the world is your oyster. I don't care where you are in life. If you're 16 or 60, the world is still your oyster. It's there for you. And if you can't do the same things that you did when you were 16, you can adjust them a little bit. If you loved horses and riding them then and you can't do that now, well, you can go and work with younger people that are doing it. There's a way for you to bring these things into your life today.
And did you
And
know that my daughter's an equestrian?
no, are you serious?
Yeah, yeah, she is.
That
She's
is so
studying.
funny.
Yeah, she's an
See,
equine
that was like
science.
divine intervention there.
Truly, we are so on the same wavelength.
We are.
It's so
That's
beautiful.
so cool. So
So I
one of the
know, yes,
reasons that I started a YouTube channel
please
shortly
tell us.
after the pandemic hit, because I had wanted to go on YouTube because I thought it's a way for me to reach more people and to
Absolutely.
help more people. And so I started that, I guess it was sometime last April, and it's Laura Graziano on YouTube. And it's the coach that cares, giving my tidbits of enlightenment. I really am very, very connected to the people that I feel that I'm speaking with them. And I've had such really nice feedback from people that have seen my videos. And someone last week said, she works for a bank, and she said, I'm using your tutorials with my staff.
Oh,
And I
that's
was like,
fantastic.
oh, that's so exciting. I just did a series on goal achievement. And she said, oh, yeah, we're really getting a lot out of your process. I said, oh, that's so exciting. And she said, your video on how to deal with difficult people was really helpful
Oh,
for
that
us,
is
and dealing
huge.
with the difficult staff or customers. And so it's very exciting to see that you can make a difference in someone's life in some small way. That's what really keeps me going and fulfilled.
That's so true. And you never know. You might just have one word with someone, and you don't know how it's going to impact them going forward. So
And you may never know, Gayle.
yeah, that's for sure.
That's what I think is really interesting is, our lives touch other people all the time. And you
Yes.
may never know that that person that you smiled at on your walk today is better for that. Maybe that person
Absolutely.
was thinking of doing something really negative and you changed things for them. So you never know. And that's
Yes,
why it's so powerful for us to bring our presence to others
it's
in the
true.
best way that we can.
I do live in that hopeful space that I might have impacted someone on a daily basis for the better. And I know that you do that as well.
Well, yeah, and I could use some of that cleaning out around here.
That's clean your home, clean your brain.
Part of it, I think,
And
is, do you get into heritage at all?
my own interests, sometimes, yes.
Well, actually, I'm thinking with organizing because, a lot of this comes from our parents and
Yes.
how we grew up in the homes we grew up in. And my dad, he was a pack rat. And he grew up in the Great Depression time.
There
And
you go.
so
Yeah.
for him, he was an immigrant from Italy. He came to this country when he was 10, and he lived in a little farming village called Montecchia de Crosara, is a province of Verona, Italy, that I actually visited in 2019. Able to
Oh,
travel there, and I found the house that he was born in, which had a dirt floor,
oh, wow.
no indoor plumbing, and no one is living there, but it's still there. It was so cool.
That's fantastic.
But, our parents really influence a lot. We grow up with this, and he would say to me, when I throw something away, it's done.
That's so perfect. Yes, you're right. It's
It's
time, it's
done.
place, it's,
And I find myself like having that mindset sometimes with the things that I have in my home. And I have to, just as I do that with my thoughts and, the things that I want to improve in my life, I have to do that with the things that I hold on to
that's
physically.
true. Yes. And what you said earlier about mindfulness, it's often making a conscious decision. Does this item, person, time commitment, or whatever fit my current life, as we were saying? And it's a conscious decision, setting, right, these are my core values. I want to live according to those values. Does this item fit those values? Or is it something that somebody else might be able to enjoy and I can pass it along and give them the positive energy that got imbued in it while I held it all this time.
You're right. And I think that, if you can frame it that way, I like the idea of knowing that someone else could use this.
Yes.
That, all right, I got what I needed out of this, but knowing that this can bring value to someone else, that makes me feel happier to give it away.
Yes. Many people say, oh, it's still good. I don't want to throw it away. So I say, okay, think green and altruistic. If it's something you can recycle, recycle. It'll get used again in another way. Or as you said, there are people out there, especially now, who may not be working, who might need things. And, there's abundance on one side and there's a need on another. So why not equalize it just a bit?
I know we've got to keep that, like, cycle going, right?
That's right. The
Keep
transfer
things
of energy.
just like
Yeah,
people have to buy things and, buy, sell, we have to keep all that moving.
that's right.
It's really pretty cool though, too. I think, it is for you with the physical clutter, but for me with the mental clutter with clients, like you say, make space for blessings. That is
Yes.
so perfect because as far as our thoughts and our behaviors and all of that, when we clog our lives up with all that stuff, we don't have room for the good new stuff that we could bring to it.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is our motivation, is what is the good, exciting new thing that you want to bring to your life in both, and you in the physical sense and
Yeah.
me in the life sense, that, what is that goal that you have or goals that you have for yourself? Set your vision there, then it becomes easier to let go because
Truly.
you're looking at that. You're looking at that as, you're visualizing yourself there already, which that's really powerful. And it makes it so much easier to get to your goal when you can see yourself already there.
Oh, you make me think of one last question I would love to ask you. Speaking of vision, do you make vision boards, and do you do that with
Yes.
your clients?
Yes. I actually have a whole retreat, create a vision for your life. And the thing that I love about that is, that I've seen a lot of people, oh, I'm going to have a vision board party. I do not believe in vision board. Not that I don't believe in them, but
Yeah, yeah,
creating a vision is not just going to a party and taking a bunch of pictures and putting them on a poster.
yeah.
It requires the inside work first. So you really have to take the time for the reflection. And I'm not talking, quickie stuff, the
Right.
deep reflection and the vision setting that is done before you create that vision board. So that's why I created that retreat, because that really focuses on that process, so that when you create that vision board, it's real, it's alive. It's not something that's going to sit on your shelf over there and you look at it, oh, but it's going to be real, connected to your purpose.
Yes. Oh, actually, now that you talk about it, I do have one posted in my office, and I'm thinking maybe it's time for me to update it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that push. Well, I have so enjoyed this time with you. Thank you so much.
Is
And
it a half hour already?
oh
Wow.
my goodness, we're actually about an hour in.
No way.
We are. So can you tell us what you have coming up and where we can find you?
Well, you can find me on YouTube, Laura Graziano on YouTube, and my website is lauragraziano.com. And the name of my business is Personal Best Coaching and Programs. I'm also very involved with the New Jersey Association of Women Business Owners. And on April 29th, I'll be leading a program for them, Join the Conversation. And for women business owners and professionals, come join us. Look for that on the New Jersey Association of Women Business Owners, NJAWBO, NJAWBO website, and you can sign up for that event. And it's always well attended. And I'm the host. So come on down. It's relaxed. We bring our favorite beverage and we talk a little business and life and goals and spring.
Oh, sounds fantastic. I'm making a note of it right now because I
Yeah.
haven't been to an Ajabo event in a
It
while.
has a spring break theme. So
Oh, perfect. And the 29th is a Thursday.
from 4 to 5 p.m.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. And that's on the Njabo website, NJAWBO.
Correct.
Fantastic. Well,
And I
thank
do
you.
have a retreat day, a physical retreat that I've rescheduled a number of times
I'll bet.
because of our situation. And now that is planned for October, more information to come.
Oh,
Hopefully I
fantastic.
can actually have people there. Won't that be exciting?
Oh, that would be such a gift. Now talk about making space for blessings. An October retreat. Okay, so please keep us posted.
I will.
Thank you. And thank you so much for being my guest. I'm looking forward to sharing this with our listeners. And dear listeners, thank you so much for joining us. Until
Thank
next
you.
time, sending you tons of love and wishing you to make space for blessings.
Thanks so much, Gayle. I had a great time with you today.
I'm
Thanks for your
so,
great energy.
thank you so much.